Welcome to TBS. Today we're going to find out, hopefully, if Melanie Boudreau, who is now Melanie Pulowski, had anything to do with Tylee and JJ's death. And anything to do could mean helping drive something, or helping bury something, or taking something and throwing it in the ocean, or just not telling what she knows. People that lie and withhold information from other people are not generally liked. And when you look at Melanie on the outside, you see that she's very well put together, and she seems really polite, but obviously she doesn't have any friends, and you have to ask yourself why. Is it because she's in a cult? I know I shouldn't laugh, but her and Lori's mother and sister and a few other people, including Melanie Gibb, really just, they're so cult-like in the way that they think and talk that it's really hard to deal with them and to believe that they didn't know the children were going to be killed, or at least think they probably would. They didn't ask the police for help, and I guess people in the media are giving them the benefit of the doubt because they were brainwashed, they're in a cult. But this cult is not normal as far as cults go, and I think you know why. It's because, do you remember Lori smirking the whole time? Why does someone do that? It's because they know they did something wrong and got away with it, and they think that other people will never find out. If she was really in a cult and believed what she told other people about the kids being light and dark, she wouldn't be smirking. But right now we want to find out about Melanie. Okay, so this is talking about neophyte Ian. He just married her and was just started to be in the cult. He brought the sword of truth in with him, and he wrote to the media about what he thought was really happening. But unfortunately now he's in the middle of this. Chad and Lori were the hermits, and deception was their bedfellow. With Lori as the empress and all-knowing mother, these people in this cult thought they would be able to get away with anything, and that she did. It was her charisma that they liked. The sword of truth was something that they regret not being part of, but they made their bed when they gave in to Lori. And Lori was always like this. She wasn't a nice mom and then all of a sudden changed. She was like this the whole time. Okay, so under the guise of truth and temperance, Lori brought them to where they are now. Chad couldn't have done this. He couldn't have got all these people to obey him. It was Lori that got them. She already had them as friends before anyway. She was like a gold mine to him. Okay. So Chad was walking forward with all these beliefs that he was toting as the truth, and he thought he was getting to the end of the road where he could rest on his laurels. But it wasn't going to happen, because justice was coming swiftly for him. And everything that he built was not going to be important anymore. Kind of funny, but his willpower and Lori's willpower were both evil, one and the same, but they didn't see eye to eye all the time. I think all of us know what happened, but what I really want to know is what happened to Melanie. Why was she part of this? I like to ask the cards generally in my mind to get started, but sometimes I get carried away and then I forget to ask the regular one again. So let's see. Sorry, guys. This is saying that Lori and Chad used Ian as bait to get all of Melanie's fears assuaged. And they showed her what she could get if she waited and did what they wanted her to do. She was really excited about all these things going to happen, and she was a weak mind, but she was very stubborn, which served her well, and who knows what will happen next. Let's see. Well, let's hope that's Melanie. Yes, so Alex and Charles were actually pretty close to her, and when she fell on hard times, they helped her, and she feels guilty because of that more than the children being killed. Yeah, the way that the media can get to Melanie, because she does know everything, is to offer her a sort of bonus towards the end of this, and also to make her feel guilty about what she did with Alex, because she should be reminded that if they killed Alex, it means they don't love her because she loved Alex. She really does care about people and her children, but her greed is pretty high. And her passion to get to the top of things, just like Lori, it's pretty high. She's very ambitious and stubborn. And she wanted a nest egg. She wanted something to get at the end of this. And Ian was there. And so was Tylee and JJ. They were there with her. She thought they were part of the plan, but when they turned dark, she just went along with it instead of standing up for them. That's another thing she could feel guilty about. Not as much as Alex and Charles, but she could feel guilty about this. Because she did not stand up for these children, thinking of her as a good mom is probably a bad idea. Okay, so here's another thing that the cops can do. They can go into all of Melanie's items that she has and find all the correspondence between her and Alex. because after a while, Lori didn't talk to her. She talked to Alex, who talked to Melanie, because they wanted to make sure things were more secret. And she kept all of Alex's correspondence and email or text or whatever because she cared about him so much. She wasn't supposed to, but she did. It's kind of a joke amongst crime people that ladies never get rid of correspondence and it always causes a giant problem and then going to jail. Yeah, so Melanie knows that she's on thin ice and that the media could win. The cops could win over her. She fears actually the ghost of Alex, which is insane to most people, but she fears that something will happen where he'll stop her from going to heaven, or he will talk to her in her sleep. Yeah, everyone who protected her is gone. Ian can protect her to a certain extent, but he really doesn't know as much as anyone else in the cult. And he also, she doesn't trust him all the way. She has her eye on getting her children back and having a special family with him, though. And she doesn't want to do it alone because she wants to be able to stay home and not work. She'll lie to Ian and tell him whatever he wants to hear to keep him placated and to make sure that her dream comes true. She wants more children. And also, she thinks she's going to be able to start over with Ian and just forget about all this and have a new life. But she's sorely mistaken, because the world isn't gonna, like, us as people watching on, no one's gonna give up on getting to the truth. And because she has secret knowledge, she has hurt other people. And bringing people to atonement is something that the true crime community is really kind of obsessed about. Sometimes the cops and the media can't do everything. If Melanie is given some kind of hope for a present at the end of this, she will give all, but it has to be the right present. And Ian really, he came along with all of this mostly because he was in love with Melanie, and he shouldn't be prosecuted, but he can aid in getting her. He'll turn on her, I think, because he is a good person. He loves her more than anything else, but he also is good and loves truth. So if he is promised the children, he'll probably go ahead and tell the truth about her. And then every single person in the cult will be brought down. Lori's mom and sister, they knew everything, but they also didn't participate in anything, and they were far removed from all of the workings of it and the inner knowledge. So trying to prosecute them is not going to work. They know this, and you can kind of think of them as slugs. You know how the some of the stories that the cult was talking about was slugs inside of people? They're kind of like slugs, born slugs. Yeah, now because the power of Chad and Lori is pretty much taken away, Melanie is on her own. And no matter how stubborn she is, she isn't. And no matter how much she's learned from Lori how to circumnavigate anything that comes against her, there's definitely a time when her defenses, she won't be strong enough to deal with it. and she'll fall down. She will try to flee. That's something that she could do. But if you promise her with the money, you can get her in shackles soon. I hope they hurry up. Yeah, everyone in this cult wanted something beautiful and something. They wanted camaraderie and celebration. But when the heartache started coming, they kind of didn't care, because what they wanted more than this was money. And this is all because of Chad and Lori. Judgment will come to them all. I'm really glad. So there are definitely things that the police and media can do to get Melanie. And it's true that she knows certain things that are secret. I know that they believe there's haste that is needed, but I hope they can figure out these certain things that they could do to help Melanie come to them and stay. Yeah, if they're swift and generous with their offer and tell Ian to help, they can make her think that she's going to get certain things, and they can work on her to talk about the children and see what happens. So they can use Ian, they can use correspondence from Alex, they can use the fact that she wants money in her flight response, and they can also use fear tactics to show what's happening to Lori and Chad, and that it could happen to her. So if they tell Ian he can have the children and take care of them while she's in jail for a bit, it will be very good. And if they remind him that he is guilty if he withholds information. So that is the reading. And Melanie is one of the people that everyone should be looking at and trying to figure out more about. But in the end, she's never going to speak any of this out loud. It's just going to have to be the cops prying it out of her and using some of it to make her stay in jail a bit. She isn't going to be able to be one of those that gets put away forever. But she should pay for what she's done. And hopefully Ian can help the children to be better people and protect them from her. Who knows if he's going to divorce her when she's in jail? I don't know. But what I do know is that this journey is coming to an end for Melanie. As long as the cops do what they're supposed to do. And they have been. The Rexburg police have been doing everything, and the FBI. Everything's been going slow, but it's in a steady progression. As long as they aren't too slow and they do everything calmly and correctly, they'll get her. So this has been TBS. I hope all of you have a good night.